The Black Death was the name given to a horrendous epidemic that swept through Europe, North Africa, and parts of the Middle East between the years 1347 to 1353. An estimated 20 to 25 million people were killed by the disease in Europe alone, with some historians estimating that the disease killed up to 200 million people worldwide. But what actually was the Black Death? The Black Death was actually one of many outbreaks of plague that have occurred throughout history that doctors now attribute to the bacteria Yersinia pestis. Yersinia pestis is a bacteria that can be transmitted by fleas, which are carried by small mammals such as rats and mice. Similar outbreaks of the disease are thought to have occurred in the Mediterranean in the years 750 to 767 CE, in London in 1665 to 66, and in the Chinese province of Yunnan in 1772. Bubonic plague. Between 1 to 7 days after a person was bitten by a flea carrying Yersinia pestis, they may develop symptoms of the bubonic plague. Sufferers of the bubonic plague would initially develop a headache, fever, and chills. They would then start to develop painful swellings in the lymph nodes in neck, armpits, and groin, called buboes. These buboes were tender, dark-colored swellings that could range in size from 1 centimeter up to the size of an apple. During the medieval period, some people believed that if you burst these buboes, then the patient would have an increased chance of surviving. Not only was this incredibly painful, but in reality, the bubonic plague would still prove fatal for an estimated 60% of people who caught it. Pneumonic plague. The bacteria Yersinia pestis also mutated to result in an airborne variety of the disease that sufferers could catch from breathing in water droplets that an infected person spread through coughing or sneezing. This form of the plague is called the pneumonic plague. Within 24 hours of being exposed to the airborne bacteria, sufferers would develop a fever, which would quickly develop into chest pains and a cough. As the disease progressed, a person would develop internal bleeding and may start coughing up blood. This form of the disease had almost a 100% mortality rate, meaning that if you caught the pneumonic form of the Black Death, you would almost definitely die. Key learning. The Black Death was the name given to the outbreak of plague during the 14th century. The plague is caused by the bacteria Yersinia pestis. Yersinia pestis mutated to not only cause the bubonic plague, but also an extremely fatal pneumonic plague.